From the local station, the morning show starts now.
Developing this morning, former President Jimmy Carter will spend the rest of his life in hospice care. Carter is 98 and is the longest-lived American president. Good morning. The Carter Center confirmed the news yesterday, saying the former president has the full support of his family and his medical team. Carter served a single term and was defeated in a 1980 presidential election by Ronald Reagan. Georgia Congresswoman Nikema Williams calls Carter an inspiration, and part of a statement she issued says, "He never stopped working for peace, democracy, and uplifting those most marginalized. I named my son Carter after this great president. I strive every day to make sure my Carter has the same humility and commitment to his service as his namesake." Mr. Carter was the 39th president of the United States after beating former President Gerald Ford in the 1976. Carter served just one term before being defeated by former President Ronald Reagan in 1980. Carter was born in Plains, Georgia, a small town. He is recognized for his humanitarianism and his Christian faith, and continued teaching Sunday school at his home church, Marantha Baptist Church, until recently. Mr. Carter also served as governor of Georgia in the early 70s and was a state senator. News4JAX political analyst Rick Mullaney says historians have mixed opinions on Carter's presidency, but believed his work after his time in office is memorable.
What he's really remembered for, in part, was the challenges we had economically during that time. By the time he left the White House, we had double-digit inflation, we had double-digit interest rates, double-digit unemployment. It was really a challenging time economically. And for his election efforts, probably at the end, what was really challenging and what he's remembered for, in part, was the hostage crisis that we had with Iran. But he did a lot of things during his presidency that looked to the future, such as the creation of the Department of Education, the Department of Energy, peace efforts, particularly in the Middle East.
This is a developing story. Stick around with News4JAX.com. We will bring you the latest updates on air and online as they're happening. Breaking overnight, a man is dead after a crash on the city's north side. The man was driving on the US 17 just before 11 p.m. last night when he crossed lanes and hit another car head on near Yellow Bluff Road. He died there at the scene. The two people inside the other car are now in the hospital suffering with serious injuries. The man who was raped and killed on Orange Park Veterinarian Tech back in 2007 was convicted for a second time. The jury found that Michael Renard Jackson was guilty in the murder of Andrea Boyer. Jackson was sentenced to death during his first verdict in 2010, but the Florida Supreme Court threw it out after it determined Clay deputies made prejudicial statements while still on the stand. Boyer was found dead inside of the office where she worked. Her sister gave a statement after yesterday's verdict came down.
Our family has shed many tears through the years, missing her birthdays, holidays, and hearing her beautiful voice. Oh, shoot. Oh, God. Finally, we can breathe and say justice has been served, and my dad can rest in peace.
Jackson will be back in court on Tuesday, where the jury will decide once again if he should be sentenced to death. JSO is still searching for the person who killed a man outside of a motel in Bay Meadows. Officers found the man suffering from a gunshot wound on Dix Ellis Trail. First responders took him to a hospital where he later died. It is still unclear what led up to the shooting. Vote 2023. The deadline to register to vote into the upcoming city's election is Tuesday. 7 candidates are running for Jacksonville's mayor, and several council seats are up for the election. The last day to register is February 21st. I spoke with the Duval County Supervisor of Elections, and he gave us a reminder for new voters in Jacksonville.
There's some folks that if they just moved here, they may not think that they can vote in the primary, quote unquote, but everybody gets to vote for any candidate.
In just a few weeks, you will have a chance to hear from the candidates for mayor as they take the stage for our News4JAX mayoral debate. Tune in at 8 p.m. on Wednesday, March 8th. We will have the 7 candidates on the stage at Jacksonville University. Our very own Ken Justice will moderate the debate, asking questions that are important to local voters. Again, that is Wednesday, March 8th at 8 p.m. on Channel 4, News4JAX.com, and News4JAX Plus. Governor Ron DeSantis says more than $2 million will be used to further prevent and treat substance abuse in Florida. $85 million will go to Jacksonville. The funds will help set up the Office of Opioid Recovery, which will manage treatment and recovery efforts throughout the state. In addition to the CORE network that was launched last August, the goal is to recognize the problem and help people where they need to be.
We are doing the spray that they use to be able to bring people back. People be suffering from overdose, Narcan and these things, you use it, it works. And so we're going to be able to distribute an additional 186,000 kits to various communities, local health departments, law enforcement, emergency responders throughout the state of Florida. We're also going to put $9 million to implement 5 on-demand mobile treatment units to aid substance abuse treatment and prevention efforts in rural and hard-to-reach areas.
The settlement also gives more than $130 million directly to local communities. As of February 9th, TSA has prevented more than 700 guns from passing through security checkpoints. Now that's roughly 16 guns per day. 4 things to keep in mind if you are traveling with a firearm. And almost 2 million people in the U.S. are diagnosed with some form of cancer every year. The resource is available for those who need help.